Hello guys, today I'm going to tell you about lost civilizations that could still exist today. Grab some snacks, pour yourself a cup of tea, and let's get started. Atlantis. A mysterious civilization described by Plato back in the 4th century BC as a powerful sea power that disappeared into the depths of the ocean. It was supposedly located beyond the Hercules pillars and surpassed all known cultures in knowledge and architecture. They say its cities were paved with orichalcum, a mythical metal, and its palaces shone with gold. Scientists have been arguing for centuries whether Atlantis was a fiction, a metaphor, or a forgotten island in the Atlantic. Some connect it with Crete and Minoan civilization, others look for traces at the bottom of the ocean. However, the very idea of a lost, highly developed culture excites minds even today. Atlantis has become a symbol of how close civilizations can come to greatness, and how suddenly it can all disappear. Minoan civilization. The Minoans were one of the first European civilizations to flourish on the island of Crete 2000 BCE. They built multi-story palaces with plumbing, decorated with frescoes depicting dancing, bulls, and nature. Their ships plied the Mediterranean Sea, trading with Egypt and the Middle East. The Minoan culture was remarkably peaceful. There are almost no traces of fortresses and weapons. That all changed after a massive volcanic eruption on the island of Santorini around 1600 BC, causing tsunamis and ashfalls. This catastrophically weakened the Minoans, and they were soon absorbed by the Greek Achaeans. Their written language, Linear A, has still not been deciphered. The Minoans disappeared, leaving behind the ruins of magnificent palaces and unsolved symbols. Indian civilization. It flourished in what is now Pakistan and northwestern India around 2600 BC. It was a remarkably organized culture with smooth streets, plumbing, and a sewage system that even later Rome did not have. Cities like Mohenjo-Daro were built according to a precise plan, with public baths and warehouses. Their writing is still undecipherable, and their architecture was orderly and symmetrical. Mysteriously, archaeologists have found almost no weapons or images of warfare, as if this civilization lived in peace. However, around 1900 BC, it began to decline rapidly. Olmecs. The first known civilization of Mesoamerica, living in the rainforests of present-day Mexico around 1500 BC. They became famous for their giant stone heads, up to 3 meters high, weighing dozens of tons, with features not unlike those of the Indians. No one fully understood who they depicted: leaders, gods, or aliens. The Olmecs created writing, calendar, and ritual complexes long before the Maya and Aztecs. Their culture was obsessed with jaguar symbols, caves, and blood sacrifices. Olmec cities such as La Venta and San Lorenzo were centers of trade and ritual. By about 400 BC, they suddenly disappeared as if melted into the jungle. The cause was probably climate change, floods, or an internal crisis. Anasazi. An ancient people of the southwestern United States who built stone dwellings in canyon cliffs hundreds of years before Columbus. Their homes were multi-story settlements right in the sheer walls, with round kiva temples and elaborate architecture. They cultivated corn in the deserts, built irrigation canals and roads connecting cities. The culture flourished around 700 to 1300 AD, but then suddenly disappeared. Droughts, internal conflicts, and resource depletion are cited as the cause. People simply abandoned the cities, and the emptiness in the canyons echoes their loss. The modern Hopi and Pueblo Indian tribes consider themselves their descendants. The Anasazi left behind mysterious symbols and ruins that reek of mystery. Mycenaean civilization. One of the first powerful cultures of ancient Greece, flourishing around 1600 BC. Their cities were built on high hills, surrounded by cyclopean walls of giant stones. The Mycenaeans were not so much philosophers as warriors. They fought, plundered, and expanded their possessions. Their gold glistens in their burials, and their swords and helmets speak of a tough world. It was the Mycenaeans, according to historians, who fought Troy. Thus, the legend of Odysseus and Achilles. Their written language, Linear B, later evolved into Ancient Greek. By about 1100 BC, the Mycenaeans disappeared. possibly due to invasion by the Sea Peoples or internal conflicts. Sogdiana, a vanished civilization of traders located in what is now Uzbekistan and Tajikistan. These people did not build pyramids, but managed the silk threads of the Great Road linking China to Rome. Their cities of Samarkand and Penjikent were cultural centers, where Buddhism, Zoroastrianism, Christianity, and even Manichaeism were mixed. The Sogdians were brilliant diplomats, interpreters, and merchants, respected even in distant China. They were the first to bring paper to the West and to transmit knowledge between civilizations. Their writing and language were the linguistic bridge between East and West. However, with the arrival of the Arabs in the 8th century, Sogdian culture began to disappear, dissolving into the Islamic world. Chavin. The Chavin civilization existed in the Andes of Peru long before the Incas, from about 900 to 200 BC. Its center, Chavin de Huantar, was a place of pilgrimage where strange temples with underground galleries and stone statues with wild, animal-like faces. Their art was a fusion of man, jaguar, and eagle, as if the gods spoke through masks. Scholars believe the Chavin used psychotropic plants and rituals to induce trance. They were a spiritual power, rather than a military one. Their influence was spread through faith, not the sword. Hydraulic systems and complex architecture speak of their engineering prowess, but by 200 BC, the Chavin influence waned. Perhaps due to social upheaval or climate change, people moved away, leaving monolithic statues and canals leading into the void. Malta's megalithic civilization. On the tiny islands of Malta, 1,000 years before the Egyptian pyramids, a mysterious civilization arose that built huge stone temples. There were many temples, and they were oriented by the sun and stars, decorated with spirals and statues of goddesses. Scientists still don't know where these people came from, or how they lifted multi-ton blocks. Their culture flourished between 3600 and 2500 BC, until it disappeared as mysteriously as it appeared. No traces of conquest, no catastrophes, just silence and ruins. Perhaps the causes lie in resource depletion or disease. Great Zimbabwe. In the heart of South Africa, amidst the savannas and hills, lie the ruins of a stone city. Great Zimbabwe. It was the center of power of the African civilization that flourished between the 11th and 15th centuries. Without a single drop of cement, they built gigantic walls, some of which reached 10 meters in height. The city was linked to the gold and ivory trade, and artifacts from Persia and China proved that the trade went far beyond Africa. For a long time, Europeans did not believe that such structures could have been built by Africans, and attributed them to the Phoenicians or Egyptians, but the truth was revealed. They were the work of the Shona people, who had proven their engineering genius. By about the 15th century, the city was abandoned, perhaps because of climate change or political disintegration.